If you ask ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini the same question, how can I make money with AI coding agents like Claude Code and Codex? You will start to notice a very specific pattern. Their answers are all roughly the same. They'll tell you to build automations for local businesses. They suggest making website landing pages for plumbers and HVAC companies. They tell you to sell Shopify plugins. Maybe build a simple internal dashboard or wrap a boring office workflow into a small subscription product. Some of that is genuinely good advice. There might still be opportunities if you're to go all in on one of these ideas. But once you catch the pattern across all three of the major models, the advice starts to feel a bit off. The software is not handing a specialized strategy to you alone. It is handing a version of the exact same answer to every single person who types that same question into the text box. And this fundamentally changes what the answer is actually worth. The sophistication of the answer is the part that gets you. The model usually gives you a very specific plan. It will name the target customer and pick a niche. It will suggest a pricing model, and it will tell you to start with one painful workflow. Validate the demand, build a landing page, and sell the concept before you write any code. All of that is incredibly reasonable. The trouble is that you are looking at the most average possible version of the idea. It reads entirely like strategy, but a lot of the time it is just a consensus take communicated to you with a confident voice. It is the internet's safest business advice, rewritten and tightened up to look like a venture capital pitch. But it's probably just trained on last month's X posts about how people claim to be getting rich with ChatGPT. The issue is that builders are drowning in plausible plans. A few years back, a thin idea looked thin. You would write it down on a whiteboard and it would just sit there, obviously underbaked. Now you ask a model to expand on it, and within seconds the weak idea has a name, 3 tiers of pricing, and a list of marketing channels. But the core idea underneath the shoddy idea has not actually gotten any better. There is a deeper reason for why this keeps happening. The major models are converging on the exact same answers. They are trained on similar datasets. They are refined using similar safety guidelines, and their outputs are becoming indistinguishable. This convergence breeds a massive amount of false confidence in the people using them. When 3 distinct, highly advanced systems tell you that building an AI agent appointment scheduler for dentists is a brilliant idea, you start to believe it is an objective truth. You assume the machines crunched the numbers and found the optimal, scientifically proven path to success. This creates a dangerous illusion that specific, universally correct ways of doing things exist. But the drawback is that you might end up not trusting your own intuition. You assume the software has access to a secret playbook. There is no secret playbook. The machine has a massive blender that mixes together everything everyone else has already said. When everyone receives the exact same advice, the value of that advice drops to 0. This is the second-order effect of everyone getting the same advice. Think about the timeline of the data feeding these models. They predict an answer that will most likely be useful, with useful being defined by the extensiveness of the training data. If thousands of blog posts, startup newsletters, Reddit threads, and indie hacker write-ups all say that selling local business automation is smart, the model treats that as a very safe thing to say back. It is safe because it has worked before, and it sounds practical. But if a trend has generated enough content to become the dominant and default answer in a massive training dataset, then that trend has already peaked. The opportunity to go down that route is likely very saturated. The model is giving you a historical average of what worked for other people whose fruits of labor have peaked within the last few years. It is summarizing the past. If a language model explicitly tells you to pursue a specific software idea right out of the gate, you are entirely too late to the party. The pioneers already made their money, and the copycats have already built the second wave of established tools. The AI is just cheerfully advising the masses to fight over the scraps. Real ideas become valuable when you can attach an actual edge to them. This can be an edge in distribution, in taste, or in timing. It could be a way of getting around a strange constraint that you happen to have the knowledge of how to work around. It could just be from having the right social capital and personal network.
The AI model can define all of those things for you. It can give you textbook examples of each one. What it usually will not do is produce genuine market insight. Left on autopilot, it produces what people already agree sounds like insight.
You have to identify trends yourself. You have to step away from the chat window and look at the physical world. You need to look at raw data that nobody has turned into a Medium article yet. You have to talk with actual people and study a specific domain intensely and identify the boring and ugly friction points that nobody brags about online for social media engagement. The model doesn't know your uncle runs a pest control company and complains about his routing software every Thanksgiving. It doesn't know you spent 3 years inside a niche e-commerce community where everyone gripes about the exact same inventory problem. It has no idea that every contractor in your city pulls leads from one specific Facebook group. That missing context is where the actual business hides, and your own experience and knowledge give you leverage. If you do not bring that leverage into the conversation, you get the same baseline category everyone else gets. When a model tells you to build automations for local businesses, your next question should not be about how to build it. The better question is what you know about this market that a random stranger asking the same model would not know. If your answer is nothing, you are holding a generic idea. You have to push the AI model here. Ask for ideas that only make sense for someone with your specific background. Make it list the ugly, boring operational details that make the project way harder than it looks from the outside. Ask what would kill the idea, even if the product worked perfectly. Get it to name a distribution channel that would feel almost unfair in your hands. You are trying to stop it from handing you the answer that belongs to everyone. The same logic applies directly to coding agents. Ask how to make money with them, and you hear that you should automate repetitive tasks. Repetitive tasks are everywhere. The question worth sitting with is which repetitive task is attached to a real buyer, an urgent pain, or a messy workflow. A lot of people want coding agents to hand over both the idea and the implementation, completely wrapped and ready to go. If everyone can pull the same idea and everyone can ship a first version in a weekend, the competitive edge simply moves somewhere else. It moves toward the things the machine cannot supply. This is your judgment and your tastes. The next stretch of building with AI is going to completely disappoint some people and make others incredibly dangerous. The people who treat the model as a vending machine will get endless lists and AI slop on the wrappers of products that come out. Those lists will feel productive to read, but feeling productive without actually doing anything is a trap. The people who treat the model as a thinking partner will use it completely differently. They will bring private context to the table. They will argue with it. They will demand harsh objections instead of polite encouragement. They will make it hunt for the weak assumption, compare two markets against each other, and generate the version of an idea that sounds completely wrong on the first read. Treat the first response as the baseline. It is the public answer sitting in everyone else's chat window at the exact same moment. Everything that makes the idea worth building happens after that. You have to keep pushing until the text stops sounding like it could belong to anyone and start sounding like it could only have come from your corner of the world. Most people stop at the clean plan. That is exactly the precise moment you have to keep going.